You know, we're living in what they call the cancel culture. I'm going to have to take one of these. These people that, like Antifa, they claim they're anti-fascist. They're behaving exactly the way they claim the fascists behave. The Nazis and the fascists. You're not allowed to talk about real history or real anything. This is just kind of like a fun. It's just a nonsensical hate. It's a hate that doesn't make any sense. It's not based on reality. Because, they're claiming they're anti-fascist and they're behaving exactly the way they claim their enemies are behaving. They want to burn, destroy, kill, cancel, suppress anyone who says anything critical of them. Now, Donald Trump reached the point of it's almost identical fanatical hatred of Hitler. If you're in the media, if you're in Hollywood and you say something positive about Trump, your career's done. It's over. So much for free speech. Reality is, Trump did do some things that are questionable. I thought the wall was stupid. I mean, what we need to do is get rid of these incentives for all these illegal Mexicans to pour in this country. And they're being pandered to. They're being encouraged to come here. And nobody has a problem with decent, law-abiding Hispanics coming to this country and becoming productive members of society. Nobody minds that. The Republicans and the most conservative ones don't have a problem. But they're encouraging criminals. And they're encouraging them to get all these free handouts. I was down in Laredo, Texas a few years ago, and I met a Filipino, and I kind of identify with the Filipinos. I've been to the Philippines. I met a woman there. If I'd stayed there longer, I probably would have married her. And he was upset because all these Hispanics kept coming up to him and trying to speak Spanish. And he doesn't speak Spanish. And he was upset because he had to come to this country and learn to speak Spanish, learn to speak English. He had to go through the proper channels. But these Hispanics, they don't even have to change their language. We're changing our language to Spanish for them, so they don't have to bother to learn to speak English. Now, there's an agenda behind this. I don't know if I can get away with saying this or not, but it's a Masonic. There's a secret mafia, a satanic Masonic mafia, and I can't say too much about them, or this will be banned. It'll be shut down. And if you think I'm joking here, let me prove to you. Okay, here's nothing about Hitler, and this is banned, removed. Okay. And here's real solutions to real problems. This was talking about solutions to problems in the black community. And I'm actually trying to help blacks and trying to help the whole country. And it's hate speech. So you can't talk about Hitler because I remember I was watching Rush Limbaugh a few years ago, and he had a guest speaker on, and they said they wanted him to talk about Hitler, and he says, "There's nothing that'll get you fired from this industry faster than talking about Hitler. If you accidentally say the wrong thing about Hitler, you're blacklisted. You're gone. You're not going to work in the media. I mean, and anything you say about Hitler can easily be taken out of context, misconstrued. The reality is, Hitler, the Third Reich, one of the most important events going on in all recorded history, and you can't talk about it, you can't discuss it, you can't research it. Because if you come up with any evidence or anything that goes against the official narrative, the official story that you're supposed to believe, you're going to get slandered, you're going to get threatened, you could lose your job, you can get arrested. There's some countries you can get arrested if you question anything about the official story. I mean, this isn't free speech. And you can even be killed. I know there's people that talked about these things and came up with evidence that counters the official story. They've been killed. And Donald Trump is almost to that level, not quite, but you can't. You go wearing a MAGA hat. There's all kinds of videos of people wearing a MAGA hat, and see the left has turned the MAGA hat into a racist thing. Wearing a MAGA hat, "Make America Great Again," is racist because America is racist. Like I said, I think in the video I did a while ago, "Is America Evil?" I'm talking about, slavery was created by these despots. They're the ones that are trying to turn our language to Spanish, and those are the ones that don't want you talking the truth about Hitler. These despots are in control, and they're like a secret mafia, satanic, Masonic mafia. I can't say too much about them, or this video will be shut down, and my whole channel could get shut down. I've had several channels, up to 2 million views on all of them. I don't have very many views on this. One thing, I haven't tried to promote it much. Another thing, I'm being blocked in a lot of ways. These algorithms are designed to keep people like me from being seen by too many people. And I've had a lot of other heat come down on me, which I'm not going to get into. If you're not aware of these kind of things, you probably aren't going to believe it anyway. So if you want to say bad things about Hitler or Donald Trump, that's perfectly okay. You can blame Donald Trump for every problem that's ever existed since the dawn of time. That's 100% good to say that. Same thing with Hitler. The things I've heard said about Hitler, he used to throw himself on the floor and chew on the carpets, he'd spit communion wine back at the priests. His father used to rape his mother right in front of him. These are things I've heard said about Hitler, but people don't want you to believe it. And if you try to say anything different, like anything positive about Hitler, you can get killed. But if you want to make up all kinds of vicious lies and slanders about Hitler, that's perfectly okay. Christian morals say you're supposed to love your enemies and forgive your enemies, but not Hitler. You can't forgive him. You gotta hate him. You must hate him. You must hate Hitler. And you must hate Trump. You have to. You have to. You have to hate him. See, the people that are doing this, and I can't say much about it, because there's an old saying, if you want to know who's in charge, look at who you can't criticize. You can criticize the white male. The white male is supposedly in charge. Okay, the white Christian male is supposedly in charge of this country. But you can criticize the white Christian male. You can slander the holy living hell out of the white Christian male. You can blame the white Christian male for every problem that's ever happened since the dawn of time, just like you can do with Trump and Hitler. Of course, they're white males also. But you can't say too much positive about the white male. You can literally get in trouble for saying positive things about the white male. Just like Hitler. Whereas, the blacks and the Hispanics are being pandered to on multiple levels. I'm not saying that there aren't any good blacks or Hispanics, but they're being pandered to. The Hispanics are being encouraged to pour into this country. Blacks are really being pumped up. You can watch 5-10 commercials, TV shows and movies and not see an obvious Hispanic. You can see 10 or more, 10, 20 and not see an obvious Asian. You can see 100 without any Native Americans, obvious Native Americans. But almost every TV show, movie, commercial has to have blacks front and center, often being shown in positions of authority. And this is an agenda when it's just constant. And it actually gets ridiculous because even if it's medieval Europe, several of the main characters, including ones in authority, have to be black. And this is absurd. It's ridiculous. There were virtually no blacks in Europe in the 1700s, certainly not in positions of authority. That's because they're racist, right? Back in those days, people didn't travel much. Most people didn't travel more than 20 miles from their point of birth, okay? So there weren't a lot of blacks in Europe, and just like there weren't a lot of whites in Africa, okay? Even if it's a movie about Vikings, several of the top Vikings have to be black. It's ridiculous. Like this Thor movie came out, Heimdall, the guardian of the Rainbow Bridge is black. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It's just like, imagine if you did a movie where, of the Zulu, where several of the top Zulus are white, you know? I mean, it's just throw out history and just rewrite history. And that's another thing, rewriting history has been going on for some time. You know, like you can't mention anybody but Columbus discovered America. That's bad. You can't say that. Even though evidence the Vikings were here 500 years earlier than Columbus, there's Phoenician trade routes that they found evidence of going back 3,000 years. And there were trade routes going across the Pacific that at least 3,000 years. I mean, how did the Hawaiians and Tahitians get to those islands? You know, the Easter Island, how do they went? Land bridge? That's absurd. So this secret satanic mafia that runs everything behind the scenes, some people call it the Illuminati. Well, the Illuminati is just one organization in it. It's perhaps the top organization, although I think there's even deeper things that the Illuminati's taking orders from. But anyway, they're despots. Despots means they're above the law, and they want all of society's leaders to be above the law. Now, when you join the Masonic Lodge, Freemasonry, you're told you have to believe in God, and you have to be a law-abiding citizen. Well, that sounds great and wonderful. And there's a lot of Masons that I don't think ever rise really high, and they're basically decent people, and they don't know that they're involved with something that's kind of dark and sinister. But as you go up into the secret levels, they start telling you, yes, you have to believe in God, but our God is Lucifer. And as far as being a law-abiding citizen, well, you reach a certain point, you become a despot. The law doesn't apply to you. The law is for the peasants, not for the Masons, not for these high-ranking satanic Masons. The law doesn't apply to them. And so, you know, that's the way it goes. That's the way it works. And anyway, what happened is Christopher Colon, better known as Christopher Columbus, stuck a Spanish flag into the ground. And so, according to these people and their mentality and their way of thinking, the Satanic Masons of Spain own all the Americas. Because they stuck a flag. Doesn't matter what we want, doesn't matter what all the people that came to this country trying to get away from suppression. And that's what I say, there's two Americas. You know, this was a slave colony already before America was formed, but created by these despots who want to continue this slavery. And they created America as to be a slavery. It was supposed to be under Spanish rule, but then English and French and others came in, and Germans, but still they have to honor this 400-year-old flag planting thing. According to them, they don't care what we want, so they have to turn all the Americas into Spanish-speaking countries, and under this control of the Satanic Masons of Spain, not the Satanic Masons of England or France. It has to be under the Satanic Masons of Spain, because they got their own rules that they have to follow. They don't have to follow our rules. Our rules, the peasant rules, they don't, you know, it's like the Clintons, Bushes, Dick Cheney, Kissinger's, all these, they're above the law. These people have committed all kinds of crimes. If you or I was to commit a crime like they've done, just 10% of what they've done, we'd be in prison for life or executed. But they're, year after year, they get away with it over and over again. And, but anyway, Trump is now somebody that you have to hate. And if you don't hate, if you wear a MAGA hat or something, you can get beat up. You can get killed wearing a MAGA hat. Because it's like, make America great again, only for white people. There's nothing that Trump ever said. Like I said, I don't agree with everything that Trump's done, but Trump has done some good things. You're not allowed to say that. Hitler did some good things. You're definitely not allowed to say that. This video could get banned because I just said that. So, there's a whole lot more details I could add, but that's enough for now, I think.